Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, IU football took another step towards a bowl game, picking up a big conference road win over Maryland.
And the men's soccer team bounces back after a tough loss. Maxwell Glenn joins us in studio to talk more about it. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Will Trubshaw.
And I'm Michael Tilko. Now, Will, with Halloween coming up, got a big question for you here. Favorite Halloween candy?
I'm going to have to surprise you here. Payday. That's
Payday.
my favorite.
Big choice.
Yeah,
big moves.
big
Big
time.
moves. Big moves. Now, something else that's spooky along with the season. IU's offense. They're giving a lot of defenses a little bit of the shakes there, aren't they?
Yeah, you know, this IU football team, it's kind of been a two-headed monster, so to speak, with Peyton Ramsey and Michael Penix, and that's what we're going to talk about now as we begin our show with the spotlight on IU football. They entered last weekend with 4 wins and looked to get one step closer to that elusive 6-win mark. The Hoosiers went on the road to Maryland last weekend looking to pick up another conference win after their dominant performance over Rutgers. Although the game against the Terrapins was much closer, the Hoosiers were still able to come away with the win. And as of now, IU sits at 5-2. But the story of the game once again focused on IU's quarterback situation. Redshirt freshman Michael Penix left the game in the first half, and backup Peyton Ramsey stepped in to close out the game. Penix's status is unknown going into the weekend's trip to Nebraska, so Ramsey could be called on once again to lead the Hoosiers.
Yeah, I mean, that's just him as a person. If you know Peyton, he's just LEO. He lives it out to the fullest, and he cares so much about this team and all the guys up here. He stepped up when his name got called, and that's just the type of guy he is.
The Hoosiers need just one win to become bowl eligible, and they can do so Saturday when they hit the road to face the Cornhuskers. Despite the quarterback issues, IU is projected as the favorite regardless of who's under center.
In a rematch of the national semifinal game last Friday, the men's soccer team was trounced by blossoming rival Maryland. But on Tuesday, they were able to bounce back with a trouncing of their own against in-state opponent Evansville. To make sense of the state that the team is in, here's Maxwell Glenn to break it down.
All right, let's talk some men's soccer. There's been some uncertainty around this team given that it's an incredibly young roster. Indiana is currently ranked 10th, but this last week has brought some interesting developments for the team. The first, easily the biggest, is IU's loss to Maryland. The number 22 Terps handed IU their first conference loss in 4 years and their second this season. Both teams have undergone significant changes since last year as both teams lost their top players. But the defending College Cup champs still have Indiana's number. They defeated IU 3-0 in a statement win. The second development, Aiden Morris's foot. He injured it at practice, but saw some action against the Purple Aces. Yeagley said he was like a caged tiger and thought it was the perfect time to throw him in late in the game. He made an immediate difference, giving Indiana new life as the Hoosiers scored shortly after his entry. The good news for the Hoosiers, there's no long-term concern with the injury. And now the third development is IU's 5-1 victory over Evansville. The standout Victor Becerra. 1 goal, 2 assists. He's another freshman providing more energy and that competitive fire which really came out against Evansville. Now this was a big game for the Hoosiers. It was their rebound after Maryland, giving them a little more reassurance after the loss. But what does all this mean? It means that IU has their work cut out for them. The matchup versus Maryland in the Big Ten tournament could prove to be fatal to Indiana's hopes of repeating. Is this a reason for concern? Yes. Serious concern? Maybe not. Indiana has plenty of time to continue building in these last 3 games. IU's defense was off versus Maryland and will need some adjustments first. So these final 3 games before the Big Ten tournament are now the 3 most important games of the season. IU has now seen what Maryland can do and will have to plan accordingly and iron out those last wrinkles. They'll also be able to see Rutgers, Ohio State, and Michigan State potential tournament matchups and properly prepare as they finish up Big Ten play. IU is currently tied with Penn State for first with a 4-1-0 record in the conference. Michigan State sits in third, Maryland in fourth, and Michigan in fifth. We'll have all the coverage you need right here on iOS TV Sports.
Thank you, Maxwell. Next, the team faces off against Rutgers on Friday night at Bill Armstrong Stadium.
The regular season calendar is winding down, but the drama is only intensifying for Indiana women's soccer, as it has a chance to do something only done a handful of times in the last decade plus. We'll kick it to our Griffin Epstein right here in studio to tell us more about the season-defining stretch of matches ahead for IU.
Indiana women's soccer has seen steady improvement all season long. However, with just 2 games left in the regular season, the Hoosiers' trials and travails have led to this: a battle with rival Purdue for the Golden Boot Sunday and a final game against last-place Michigan State next Wednesday. These 2 games will decide their Big Ten tournament hopes. Currently, the Hoosiers sit in a tie for 7th in the Big Ten, with the top 8 teams advancing to the Big Ten tournament. With Indiana having made the Big Ten tournament just twice over the last 12 years, an advancement into the postseason would be a signature stamp on the year. With 4 teams fighting for 3 spots, the math is confusing on potential scenarios for qualification to the tournament. However, IU controls their own destiny. Win both games, and they are in. This Sunday's game against Purdue, though, means more than just extending IU's season. In fact, the rivalry affair could be historic. An IU victory over Purdue would bring the Golden Boot back to Bloomington for the first time since 2014. The Boilers have struggled this season and haven't won a game since September 22nd. Yet there is no doubt an IU victory versus their vaunted rivals up north would be the signature victory of Coach Erwin van Bennekom's first season. A rivalry battle in Bloomington and a chance to punch a ticket to the postseason. As they say, these are the games players dream about.
Thank you, Griffin. Once again, Indiana hosts Purdue at 1 on Sunday from Bill Armstrong Stadium. The game will be televised on BTN+. The Hoosiers will then finish the regular season at Michigan State on Wednesday, up in East Lansing. You can follow Griffin on Twitter for coverage of that match.
When Hoosier Sports Night continues, Jordan Gould brings us a story on one of the football team's prolific linebackers.
And field hockey had another rough outing, this time against a non-conference foe. You're watching Hoosier Sports Night.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night. Being away from home is difficult for any college student. It's even more difficult when a natural disaster can erase anything left of a home. IUSTV Sports feature reporter Jordan Gould tells us more.
I was just scared for the most part of, what could happen. We never been through a Category 5 hurricane.
This is senior linebacker Reakwon Jones talking about Hurricane Michael, a major storm that ravaged through the Gulf of Mexico and Florida last year. The hurricane hit hardest in parts of Panama City, Florida, where Jones grew up.
I was trying to call my mom and, just other people around in my city, other family, and I wasn't able to reach them. And, I'm calling all these people. And then I called my stepdad's phone because he got a few numbers, so I didn't know which one to call. But I called him. He was able to answer. My mom had told me that the storm was way worse than they expected. She was just telling me how bad it was. They was in the bathroom with the bed over top of them in the tub. And then when I was on the phone with him, I heard the tree fall on the house and stuff, and I heard them scream and stuff like that.
Jones's mother, Tanya, and stepfather, Marcus's first house destroyed, swept up by Hurricane Michael. It was their first house they lived in together. Now, the Joneses would turn for help from the community and their IU football family.
Everybody around the facility, people I probably don't talk to every single day, that aren't like my best friends on the team, they were still coming up to me, sending me texts, just letting me know, I'm here if you need me, everything gonna be okay, me and my family praying for you and stuff like that, and just ultimately being making sure that I didn't feel alone. So we went to compliance and we got the GoFundMe started, and a lot of the community, a lot of people in the program, a lot of my teammates' families, they donated to that too, to help my family kind of get back on their feet. We were out of our home at the time, so they donated to kind of, help our living situation when we were moving around hotel to hotel, helping, we needed food, needed new clothes.
The GoFundMe page, which has raised over $16,000 to date, was started by Reakwon's mother, Tanya Broxton. Her firstborn of 8 children, it was Reakwon who she shared an extra special bond with.
She was pregnant with me at 16, had me after she had just turned 17. And, we kind of grew up together. And, she was a single mom for a while, so it was just me, her, and my other little brother, Tayshawn. So, we spent a lot of time together.
Just over 1 year removed from Hurricane Michael, Jones looks to turn his focus back to football after receiving a promise from his family back home.
And I think all my family made it clear next time there's a storm, they are not staying there no matter what category, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They said they will never want to be a part of something like that again.
From Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Jordan Gould, IUS TV Sports.
Once again, you can watch Reakwon and the Hoosiers take on Nebraska this Saturday on BTN. Our very own Stephen Walker will be there as well, so be sure to follow along as he reports from Lincoln.
The field hockey team was looking for a spark they could not find Sunday after losing another Big Ten match to Iowa on Friday. The Hoosiers once again played slow on offense this past Saturday against Ohio University. Kelsey Geis scored the only goal of the day with 30 seconds left to play in regulation to tie things up at 1. In overtime, things did not change as the Cream and Crimson were unable to capitalize on their opportunities, which led to Ohio scoring the golden goal to secure the victory. The weekend losses drop IU to 4-11 on the season and 1-6 in conference.
On Sunday, the volleyball team traveled to Iowa City in what would become their 4th loss in a row. To add insult to injury, IU hasn't won on the road in over a month. Brianna Edwards managed to still impress fans as she recorded 16 kills along with 13 digs, in addition to freshman libero Haley Armstrong leading the team with 16 digs in the back row. The loss drops the team to an overall record of 12-9. The Hoosiers will try to remain above 500 over a tough stretch of games against number 5 Nebraska and Iowa again next weekend.
Men's golf continued its road warrior ways as a pair of golfers were represented in the Queen City. The Hoosiers sent 2 individuals to Cincinnati to compete in the Musketeers Classic at Xavier University. Senior Evan Gasser earned a top 30 finish by moving up 14 spots on the leaderboard during the final day. And freshman Eric Berggren shot his best round of the tournament the final day by carding a 76. The Hoosiers return to action this weekend at the Steelwood Collegiate Invitational in Sweet Home, Alabama, hosted by the South Alabama Jaguars. And as always, you can stay up to date with the men's and women's golf teams by following IUS TV's own Justin Berger and Jackson Kinney on Twitter.
Well, that does it for our show this week, but don't forget to like our page, IUS TV Sports, on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at IUS TV Sports. For our entire production crew behind us, and for Will Trupshaw, I'm Michael Tilka. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.